What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am so excited to bring you guys my next video in my must-have Gags series. This is my series I created inspired by Samantha Butch's Will I Buy It series. I always have her series and the community playlist linked down below, as well as all the Instagram pages I follow to get all of this makeup knowledge. And lastly, but certainly not least, I always have all of the items listed and linked down below. If there is an asterisk behind that link, that means it is an affiliated link. If you shop through it, I very much appreciate it. Otherwise, no big deal at all. I'm just happy that we get to sit down and talk about makeup, because I don't talk about makeup with anybody in my real life. So I have to talk to you guys about it, basically. I will be doing a full face of makeup while I am talking about this new makeup, and this will be a smattering of items that I am at the end of testing out to review, my project pan items, and then just flat out new items in general. Everything, as always, that's on my face will be listed and linked down below in that description box, so go ahead and check down there. But I don't want to ramble too long. This is already a very long video because it's been a while since I've done this video idea and concept, so let's just jump into. So for today's video, we're bringing it back to how I've been enjoying doing my new makeup releases, and we are going to be doing it with me creating a full face of makeup. So I'm really excited to bring it back to this. As always, all of the items that I'm going to be placing on my face will be listed and linked down below. And as always, all of the items that I actually discuss will be listed and linked down below. I'm sure that is a regurgitation of what I've already said in the intro, but I just had to say it. So I'm going to scoot over. I'm going to pull up the new makeup releases on my phone, and I'm going to find my primer in my basket of goodies, and we're going to get to it. So it has been a while, I want to say, since I've done this series. So I want to say I have quite some older products to discuss, but just bear with me until we get to kind of the newer items. Please and thank you. So one of the things that I have on here is the fact that Prada, oh my gosh, my AC wanted to come on right then. Let me turn my AC off so it's one less distraction. Okay, so I was able to turn my AC off, and if you are like me and you get annoyed by the ticking in the background, unfortunately in my plant room, which is right next to where I actually film, there is a fan, and the fan ticks when it's on. I just attempted to turn it off, can't figure it out. So I don't know how to work that fan at all. It doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason on what it does. So I'm gonna just leave her alone. Eventually, hopefully I can find some form of like barrier. But please just bear with me when it comes to that, because it annoys me too. Just know that it annoys me too. Even when I'm not filming, just sitting in the house, that's the thing that I hear, just ticking away. Anyways, Prada has come out with some new products. So they have extended their range with a setting powder and a primer. They both have that like green, like seafoam green tinge to it, which I think has some form of relevance when it comes to the brand. Honestly, I don't know much about Prada. I don't know much about any real designer brand, if we're being honest. Just not the type of things that I was built kind of to pay attention to, or raised to pay attention to, really. And I haven't become accustomed to doing that in my adulthood either. So absolutely no understanding on the color reference. I'm sure it has something to do with the designer house though, nonetheless. I'm sure these are both really expensive. Yeah, the setting powder is $90 and the primer is $50. I can't even fathom being able to pay for that or justify it, and I can almost justify anything, but a $90 setting powder, absolutely not. Even the people who love to recommend what is that one brand that people love to recommend their very expensive powder? Oh, I can see it. Chantecaille. People love recommending Chantecaille's powders, but then they always say it's obscenely expensive. And those are expensive, but apparently they're really good. I just don't see this product being really good, even though it's obscenely expensive, if that makes sense. So this is going to be an easy pass for me, and my wallet thanks me. I promise you. She thanks me, because every other thing, it seems like I'm just like collecting left and right. But this I'm going to go ahead and skip. It looks like, I think this is Ilia, right? Yeah, Ilia is coming out with cream bronze. Oh, these are creams. Oh, that's interesting. So these are cream bronzers. They're supposed to blur and apply. Wait, this is a blurring bronzer that shifts from a silky cream to a weightless powder, blending seamlessly for skin kissed warmth and dimension that lasts up to 12 hours. It has a whole bunch of stuff. There are 4 different shades, and the darkest shade is stated to be a rich rosy bronze. Now in the swatches, it looks like a straight up highlighter, like just a lower down on the sheen, but it looks like a bronzy, there was a product I used to use. This is what's coming to mind. It was from e.l.f. and it was literally a highlighter, but I used it as a bronzer, and I was able to do so because it was darker than my skin tone and warmer than my skin tone, but it was a highlighter. Like, let's be real. And that's what this looks like to me. I don't know if I'm being prejudiced on that, but for me, it's going to be a pass. It's $36. I love the, I guess, ingenuity that I see and the uniqueness in the fact that it is a cream to powder type product, and it looks like it is more on the shimmery type realm. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look like something I would love. And although I love trying out bronzers, this is just not the one that's screaming to me. There is a bronzer that's screaming to me to try this actually this week, but until we get there, I'm just gonna kind of hopefully sit back. Did I pull a bronzer out? I did not pull a bronzer out, so let me pull one really quickly. So I believe I've talked a little bit about the stuff that Sydney Grace came out with for their Christmas in July sale, but this is something else that I had pinned, and I don't believe I talked about this. I don't know the name of this palette. Let's see. It doesn't state the name. Oh, Eastern Fall. That's right, because they came out with like different types of fall palettes for like the different zones in the US or something to that effect, I want to say. So this is called Eastern Fall, and of course, as always, they tend to do one that's like dark skin friendly and one that's not when it comes to their palettes lately, and I've been loving that they still are continuing to do that. It wasn't like a fad or a trend. It literally seems like something that they're willing to kind of continue to do until they're on end. And generally it's only like 1 or 2 shades that is different. It's just like a crease shade or a transition shade that they know it would just be ashy on darker skin. So they always kind of provide a darker equivalent of that shade. It's just a more saturated tone in that color family. I think this is a really pretty palette, do not get me wrong, but it's nothing that I feel like I really have to run out to pick up. I know last week, or the last time I did this video, I talked about a different powder that I was actually interested, or not a different powder. I'm sorry, I'm like multitasking and in the worst possible light. I talked about a different palette from them that I actually thought was very intriguing. I thought it was really pretty. I didn't end up picking that one up, and I'm not going to end up picking this one up. Like I said, I do enjoy Sydney Grace. I think that their formulas are fantastic. I think their quality is fantastic. It's just kind of one of those things where the brand gets very one-noted on what they're going to provide. They haven't really come out with any interesting products that really make me stop and think. These all are ones that I know, like, if I get, I'm gonna love, and I'm gonna get a lot of use out of, which is, I'm sure, their category or their kind of audience that they're trying to cater to. It makes complete sense. But for me to really pick up anything new from the range, I'd really want something that's going to bring something different to my collection. And, you know, that's just not Sydney Grace, which I can still continue to support them and promote their products and say, you know, these are some good products, but also at the same time know that like it's not for me to pick up, at least not right now. Pat McGrath also came out with some eyeshadow quads, and these are in her Sublime Bloom range. You know, I'm sure a lot of people pick these up. I think this is an older release as well. Yeah, this was available in July, so I'm sure this has already had its moment on YouTube and kind of gone away, if you will. Neither of these palettes really scream to me at all. And as much as I love Pat McGrath's formula and her creativity and her creations in some lights, you know, I've never, pretty much after that first year, I realized you just don't, and nor should you, buy Pat McGrath full price. So, you know, I never really run to get her stuff. I just wait. And, you know, although this is a pretty product range, not something that I need. So Sabrina Carpenter came out with another product in her perfume range. So I actually got the one before this. It was like a caramel perfume. Really nice perfume, actually. I did end up picking that up from the Walmart near my house when I lived in Maryland. And now she came out with this one, and this is a cherry noted one. I want to see reviews for me personally. I'm not going to say that the perfume that I picked up was not worth it, because I actually think it was really nice, and I think it's a nice alternative to my Philosophy Warm Cream Cashmere. It's not the same, but it's a nice alternative, and I have a feeling that this will be once again a nice alternative to some other cherry noted scents that I already have. And if we're going through that collection, I really prefer my Huda Beauty. That is my favorite. I do have the Tom Ford Lost Cherry, and that's just never been a favorite for me. I like it. I picked it up because I wanted to smell it, and I was too lazy to go in store. I don't regret it, but I just know that I will reach for my Huda Beauty. So if it doesn't top that, for me when it comes to perfume right now, because I have so many, and so many that are just like okay, I want to go ahead and get rid of those before I maybe potentially start picking up perfumes again like I was a couple of years ago. Keeping it going, it looks like Charlotte Tilbury has come out with a new mascara, and this mascara's name is Exaggerize the Volume Edition. I want to say she already has an Exaggerize perfume, so that's why they kind of emphasized the volume perspective. I do really love volume, and I've never tried Charlotte Tilbury's mascaras personally. Is this something that I would say like I'm gonna run out to pick up? No, but I do love a good volumizing mascara, and to be fair, I have not found a new favorite in quite some time. I found mascaras that I think are okay, but not ones that like I really love. I have my old favorites that I do have backups of. Like I love the Rare Beauty. I love the Tinty Doll. Those are some really good volumizing mascaras to me. And those are mascaras that like I would feel confident leaving the house without having lashes on. And you know, since wearing lashes, you know, you kind of get used to a different level of volume than you did prior. At least for me, that's how it's become. And so really still finding a mascara that I'll feel confident in now that I have this new heightened level of volume perspective has been harder. It's been harder. So yeah, I would be interested in trying this. I don't really have quite a lot. I do not have a lot of Charlotte Tilbury items. It's just not a brand that I really gravitate towards. I think it's a combination of factors. Honestly, the price is kind of up there, but also in the grand scheme of things, her releases just don't attract me. They don't attract me. I find them to be decent, but never something that like I have to run out for. And even on the odd chance that I do find that I really want to run out for them, people who review the products are basically saying like, this is not worth it, don't do it. And so that stops me. Because I was actually weirdly interested in her holiday release last year, the palette. I actually really wanted to pick up that palette. I thought that those mattes looked beautiful and that the shimmers gave enough color that like I would actually reach for them, and that would be a nice little kind of pocket palette that I could take on the go or whatever. And quite a few YouTubers hated that palette. They hated it. And so I just never picked it up. I was just like, y'all said no, it's a no for me. So yeah, I don't have much Charlotte Tilbury, and even the stuff that people rave about I find to be okay, such as her matte poofy blushes. I don't really love those. I know a lot of people love those. Same with the shimmers in that same packaging. A lot of people love them. I think they're fine. So yeah, she's not a brand that I find I have to live by picking up everything, but I am excited and interested to try that mascara. Long story short, YSL is already showing, this looks like holiday. They're calling it their winter holiday bloom, but I think this is pretty much their holiday collection. So they have 3 different lip products, which I would assume, yep, they're lipsticks. There is an eyeshadow palette. There is a pencil. I would assume it's an eyeliner, perfume, and probably some other things as well. I think that this all looks really cute. This probably will sell really nicely because it's very easy, kind of run of the mill. There's nothing really alarming about this collection that wouldn't work for the average Joe Schmo. Is this something that I feel I need to pick up though? No, I do not feel I need to pick up anything really in this collection. I can just continue to admire the packaging, and I'm sure I will be able to watch good reviews from avid purchasers of YSL when they decide to pick it up. This is a good blush. Now, I can't tell if on camera, we're not going to go overkill. We're going to leave it alone. And if need be, I will use it later. But I think I am going to go ahead and do the little khaki technique really quickly, because it does feel as though it's a stark difference. I think that's a lot better. Okay, keeping it going. Again, Sydney Grace is coming out with a powder foundation. I'm not a huge fan of powder foundations personally, and especially not in this compact, because these are loose. That's just not a product that I tend to reach for. But I must say, I have wanted for, I would say, the longest time, I have wanted to do a kind of full face and literally have it be a full face of indie makeup. And I don't find that it's very easy. I don't find that it is easy to really get foundations from truly independently owned brands. You know what I mean? It's just not one of those things. So for that reason, I kind of have a mind to look into this. But because I know I will not reach for a powder highlighter or a powder foundation, I don't know. Are you guys interested in seeing this potentially from me? Please let me know down below, because I kind of have a mind to try it for the like full face aspect, but like on a practical of me using the product after that, it just doesn't seem very likely. It does not seem very likely at all. Glossier is coming out with a new brow pencil. Oh, what is this on my nose? And it appears as though it is a thin brow pencil that has a slight angle, which is why it's called the brow arch. You know, I think that this is smart. I vaguely remember that they had a brow product in the past. I don't think it was either it was not very popular or they had to discontinue it randomly. I want to say Dolly Beauty used to wear this and used to rave about it, but I might be thinking about the wrong product. Who knows with me? But, you know, I think this is something that could easily be thrown in a cart, especially because Glossier is available at Sephora now. So it's easier for people to kind of wish or randomly pick these types of products up. And who knows, this might be thrown in a cart in the future. But it's definitely not going to be something that like I specifically make a Sephora order for this product. Like that's just not a possibility at all. And it's supposed to be available on the 8th, which means it's already available. So definitely we'll have it linked down below. Now, this was actually a product that I was going to pick up. Like I was fully invested to pick it up, and I'm glad that I finally sat down to watch some makeup YouTube today. So this is the Fenty Beauty Suede Powder Blushes. And apparently these have been going viral for the not so good aspect that they don't work on darker skin, which is interesting. I mean, to be fair, just because it is a black owned brand does not mean that it has to work, like everything has to work on darker skin, but you would think that it would. You would think that it would. Anyways, that has definitely made me stop and think. I will see. I don't really know if I'm gonna pick one up. Like I said, I was truly excited. I thought some of these colors would be really interesting, and I liked the concept of the suede powder. I thought it would give a different or unique effect on the cheeks when applied. But now I'm worried. I'm actually very worried. I was gonna get the Daiquiri Drip, and there was another shade. But yeah, now that I'm seeing them swatched on Trend Mood's arm, they're really not that dark. They really don't have very pigmented, opaque colors. So I completely understand why they went viral for not working on darker skin. Completely, now that I really take the time to step back. Urban Decay has come out with a new palette, and this actually looks really nice. So the palette is called City Space Cowboy Star Palette, which makes perfect sense. Cowboy has really been the product that has really brought Urban Decay back on the map, especially because it works with so many of people's aesthetics right now, where they really don't wear eyeshadow, they just wear sparkly eye product on their eyes. And that's basically what Space Cowboy is, right? So I think this is a really pretty palette. I would need to see this in store, and knowing me, I would never pay this full price. I mean, Urban Decay, I think because of the content of this palette, it will definitely sell well, but I still have a feeling it's gonna go on 50% off, and then that's when I will probably pick it up. Not a second more. I just can't bring myself to buy an Urban Decay product full price. That's almost as bad as like telling myself I'm gonna buy a Pat McGrath product full price. In what world? Never. Alrighty, so we have a new product coming from Gourmand Girls Cosmetics, and this is a palette, and it looks like maybe a lip gloss. Is that what it is? No, it's a lip oil, and it is the Gourmand Delices. What is going on? What is going on with this description box? I'm not understanding. Okay, it's the palette that is all about ice cream. I can't seem to find an actual name, or maybe I'm not reading correctly. Who knows? But I think that this is a really pretty palette, just not the palette for me. it just doesn't scream out to me. I actually saw the video that I watched earlier today was from Angelica Nyquist, and I saw her showcasing, you know, the new products that she had received in PR, and she was showing this palette, and I was like, oh, okay, it's cute, but it didn't really intrigue me. And if it does not intrigue me, both, you know, on camera but also in stills, I know it's not for me. Sometimes it's like it'll get me in one aspect and not the other, and I'm sure she'll do some looks with it, or I think one look, because I think she said she was only doing one look with that palette. That will intrigue me, I'm sure, 110%. But so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Something else that is intriguing me from Charlotte Tilbury, which once again, who's mad? Not I. I'm just dumbfounded, if we're being honest, is this new palette. And this is, of course, Pillow Talk, the palette. And I think what's intriguing me about this is the same thing that intrigued me about the previous palette in this similar kind of packaging that came out for last holiday. I've heard since, you know, the original reviews, I've heard that people found the formula they figured it out, but they still didn't love the formula, if you will. And they also referenced a previous palette that Charlotte Tilbury had released that had similar mattes. So I've been meaning to pick up that palette, but you know, with everything going on, it just never took priority to pick up that palette. But I'm definitely intrigued by this. I mean, I know that those pinky tones, although not ones that I reach for on a regular, would be something that would work on my skin tone and I would enjoy them. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in regards to that? I don't know. I have no idea. But it is a pretty palette. It is a pretty basic Betty palette that your girl is intrigued by. But I'm sure I won't like the price, because I'm sure that price is going to be expensive. Ariana Grande has come out with a new perfume, and this is called Love Notes. And I wonder if they have the actual notes. Yeah, so the notes are vanilla sage. Wait, what? Oh, this is a range. Love Notes is a range, and one of the perfume names is Vanilla Suede. The other is Angel's Kiss. Then we have Pink Woods and Pressed Petals. Oh, interesting. That's very, very interesting. And it appears as though certain perfumes are available in certain parts of the world. I wonder if you'll be able to experience them, like if they'll be all released everywhere, even though she has certain scents released in certain spots right now. That is actually very, very interesting and unique. I kind of like that concept where it's like a collection, but depending on where you are, you can only access one or the other. I'm sure us in the US, we would be able to easily get some of the stuff. Like generally UK, we could get stuff shipped to us. Douglas, I don't know what Douglas is a European store, so I don't know how that conversion to get over here. And then Australia, it doesn't say what store. So it'd be interesting to hear if somebody's able to get their hands on all of them, how they feel about all of the different scents in this Love Notes range. Then we're seeing that Summer Fridays is actually going to be releasing another new scent or flavor in their Butter Bomb range, and I must say I'm excited. I really love this range, as do a lot of people. That's why this range has gone viral beyond viral. And this one is Hot Cocoa. I'm sure this is going to be released right around the beginning of fall, if not even the holidays, and that's fine with me. I will pick her up and I'll be happy. I skipped on the last one, which was like that pinky shimmery one. Just wasn't for me. But this is for me. This is a brown. Granted, I'm sure it's not very far color wise off of the hot chocolate, but this is a range that I really like. The formula, it really works for me, so I'm not going to be mad to have an obscene amount of different shades in the range, if you will. So really excited about that. Pretty much when it drops on Sephora, as long as I am paying attention, I will go ahead and just pick her up. So next is from NYX, and NYX seems to be releasing an extension on a very beloved range, and this is their Epic Liner range. So I believe previously they've had a darker brown and a black, and now they're really extending that range, which I think makes perfect sense. There's so many people who want to do liners for different reasons, and the actual applicator here works a lot easier for me than like those fountain pen applications where you have the inkwell and then the feather comes out. So honestly, for me, I would pick this up if I wanted to just do a more artistic eye look with my eyeliner, like that bright kind of beige shade, which I guess is 07, which is marshmallow. It's a cream. I'd pick that up easily, and I would love if they came out with a white in this particular formula and this packaging. I would definitely pick these up. These would be thrown in Ulta cart whenever I made an order. I actually just made an order at Ulta. I didn't know about these, or I would have thrown it in if we're being honest, but I'm not mad at it at all, and I am truly excited that they're extending that range, and hopefully, like I said, they will extend it even further to include a nice, beautiful pigmented white. So it appears that Auntie Anne's, which I love their pretzels. I actually stopped myself from getting a pretzel very recently because I was very annoyed while I was at a mall. And of course they were open when I was annoyed, but that's besides the point. I almost picked up a pretzel because I haven't had one in years, and now they're coming out with a perfume. Now, as much as I love to say that I am in it to win it when it comes to a good gourmand, I am not one of those people that can do a realistic gourmand. It's just not my cup of tea. I've just not found that I get any form of satisfaction, enjoyment, anything from literally smelling like X, Y, and Z. So this is not something for me. I know this is for people though. There is a perfume YouTuber, my brain is blanking on her name, but she loves bready type perfume. So I can see her running to pick this up. And so, I mean, from my perspective, no, it's not for me, but I know it's for somebody. So I'm not going to judge too hard because there are things that I do and desire that people don't understand. They just don't. But this is just, it's just not for me. And I knew that off the bat, but I thought it was interesting that this is a full-on bready perfume. And for those people, Chris from the Perfume Nest. So whenever Chris finds out about this perfume, I can almost guarantee you that she's going to be picking it up. Alrighty, and Haus Labs is also dropping some new products, and their new product is, of course, a liquid eyeliner. I like the concept of this. Apparently it's supposed to be super dark and all that jazz, but as I just finished talking about, I love my NYX Epic Liner. I literally have the brown and the black already in my collection, which is why I said I would go ahead and get that cream shade. I think that would just kind of round out my collection outside of a white. When they come out with a white, I will definitely be picking that up, but I've never been able to truly justify spending high-end or even medium range prices for a liner. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially when you have NYX and all of these other really good drugstore brands. Now, the concept of how expensive or cheap drugstore is nowadays, we'll leave that for another conversation. But when we're talking about just objectively, will I go to a Sephora to get a liner or will I go to Ulta? I'm always going to go to Ulta. Always. The outside, like, possibility would be if I want to get something from an indie brand. That's something I've done in the past, but I don't think I've ever bought a liner ever from Sephora. Patrick Ta is now sneak peeking a new foundation, and it is going to be his Major Skin Luminous Perfecting Foundation. Now, I have not bought a lot from Patrick Ta. I bought maybe one eyeshadow palette, I think a bronzer duo, and a handful of blush duos. And I've learned a lot from picking up his stuff, and just in general that it's helped me in ultimately reviewing his products, but also in products in general. That was a very cryptic way of saying I've learned a lot when I've tried his products throughout the years. Now, this is definitely something that I actually think I would enjoy. I do love a nice kind of satin skin, luminous finish with my base, which is why this e.l.f. will immediately kind of find its way probably top drawer, or I'll have to stop myself and use one of my older foundations, because this is a beautiful foundation. It's a foundation I applied today, actually, in case you didn't know. So yeah, I definitely think that this is the concept of something that I will get a lot of use out of. But in the application of actually buying this, I don't think it's going to be something that happens. And if it is something that happens, I would be buying it on sale or after the wave of initial reviews. I just don't see me initially reviewing this along with a lot of other people. Not because I think it's a bad product already or anything like that. It's just, I have quite a few foundations. It takes me a while to get through foundations, especially because I'm not wearing makeup even as much as like I have had at one point. I'm pretty much only have the time to put makeup on maybe 3 times a week. Most of the time it's 2 or 1 days a week. And so I'm not getting through my makeup. And so foundation is one of those categories, because I don't really review it very often. I can easily slow my purchasing down to pretty much nothing. So yeah, I think this is really cool. I think this could potentially be something that I would enjoy based on my current aesthetic and my current opinions on foundations. It's just not something that I'm gonna run to purchase. So I'm almost done. I'm proud of me. Usually when I do these videos, I get to the end of the products and I still have stuff to do. I was originally gonna do these light lashes, but I don't think they're the vibe tonight. So I'm gonna put those back. I think the vibe is gonna be my Old Faithfuls. I think I'm just gonna go with my Egypts. So because I'm going with something I've already cut and applied before, I'm just gonna try to do those on camera while I'm talking to you guys. Hopefully it works. We'll see how it goes. So it looks like Chanel is coming out with, oh, these are cream blushes. These are cream blushes that have a velvet finish. And these will be available at all of their retailers. One of their retailers is Ulta. I'm probably gonna try it. I'm probably gonna try it unless I see a review that shows that it just does not work on my skin tone. I will probably cash in my points and try this because I'm very intrigued. Now, the swatches that are along in this Trend Mood post are on a lighter skin tone, which tends to always happen. I mean, there are not a lot of like review sites that are on darker skin, and a lot of swatches just don't find themselves on darker skin immediately. Anyways, I'm very much intrigued by this. I was not thinking that these were cream. I definitely thought these were, you know, their normal powders that maybe they just came out with like a slightly different formula. But the concept of it being a cream, I am definitely intrigued, 110% intrigued. So Nomad Cosmetics is coming out with a fall palette, and it is for the Fuji 5 Lake region. I don't actually know where that is. Where is that? Is that, I'm assuming, near Mount Fuji? It's supposed to be launching on Tuesday, the 20th, which I think is this upcoming Tuesday. And per Angelica Nyquist, tomorrow they will have the full reveal. So I will put on screen the full palette. All I know is that it's Fuji. That's all I've been able to see based on their post on their Instagram. And apparently she's saying that this is like her favorite palette. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what type of palette this is, because typically Nomad does a lot of neutral tones for the fall, for their fall palettes. And although she is getting better at neutrals, she doesn't love them, you know? So for this to be a favorite palette of hers, I'm sure it has a lot of brighter tones, like bright orange, bright red, stuff like that. So I'll definitely be intrigued to see. Oh no. This lash is betraying me because I'm doing this and talking. But I'll definitely be able to be intrigued to see what their color scheme is. I'm hoping that there's a beautiful, bright, saturated yellow in there to go with that orange and the red, just based on the colors. Obviously some nice like true greens, stuff like that. So I'll be definitely intrigued. From their last palette that I tried, they had really good quality. So if it is something that I'm actually actively into, I will go ahead and pick her up. I will. But it has to really be something interesting. The next product is actually the one bronzer that I'm actively interested in picking up this week. I don't know if I'll actually pick her up this week, but I'm definitely looking at her. And this is the Dominique Cosmetics Cream Bronzer. Now, I was so excited. I love cream bronzer. You guys know that. So I will pick up pretty much any brand's cream bronzer to try it, to test it out, to review it. I enjoy the category, and I just enjoy pretty much everything about it. Let's face it. And when I stopped to think about this though, I remembered that I decluttered their cream blush. I for sure decluttered that cream blush because it did not have any pigment, I felt, on my skin tone. Oh no, it's coming off instead of staying on. Yes, it is. And I don't think there's enough glue on there now for it to stay. Let me get this last lash on real quick and then I'll come back. Okay, I think I got my lashes on, at least for today. That's gonna be as good as she gets. So the Dominique Cosmetics, I was actually really intrigued by this. I thought this would be really, really cool and that I would get a lot of enjoyment out of potentially testing this out. That said, after looking at it, I realized that this is that same formula, at least theoretically, that I didn't really love the cream blush. And I just felt like there was not a lot of saturation. Now, I do typically want more opacity and more pigment on my cream blushes than my cream bronzers, but I still didn't feel like there was even the level of pigment in that cream blush that I would appreciate on a cream bronzer. So unfortunately, I think I just kind of talked myself out of this and I will not be picking this up. I really want to try more from this brand overall. I've wanted to try more from this brand forever, but I just always can seem to talk myself out of it. So I'm gonna walk away. This is a new brand that I will say, weirdly excited for. And this is Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's coming out with her makeup brand, and yeah, she's coming out with 4 different shades, all of them named after, of course, her songs. And you have Jolene Red, Honey Plum, Rosebud, and Birthday Suit. I'm excited. I'm excited and intrigued to see how many different categories and products they release. I don't think it says the finish. It does not say a finish. So I would love to know the finish of this, but it does look like there might be a brown. Now this is a lot darker of a brown than I typically will reach for. So I don't think I'm gonna pick up anything off of this original release, but I am excited to see what comes of this release. Rabanne is coming out with duos, and these are blush duos. I actually think the Almost Famous shade is really pretty. I like how compact this is. Once again, I think this is an easy throw in an Ulta cart eventually. So this will definitely be in the back of my head for me to put in that Ulta cart. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Something I'm very excited for is the LYS Foundation Stick. I'm weirdly excited about this. I absolutely love my liquid foundation from LYS. Love it to death. I love pretty much all of my products from LYS overall, which is why I decided to become a brand ambassador with them. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. I want to pick this up. I could potentially be getting this sent to me as well. So I don't know which will be happening, but either way, this is definitely something that you will see reviewed on my channel 110%. Ilia is coming to Ulta. Not a brand I've ever tried. Yeah, not a brand I've ever tried. So I'm not really interested in this brand coming to Ulta, but I am concerned that a brand that I love may be leaving Ulta. So hopefully that's not the case. But if it is, you know, I'll hopefully still feel willing to buy the products from the brand's site personally. It looks like Lunar Beauty is launching liquid blushes, and these will be launching later this month. They're supposed to be 6 shades, full coverage with a satin formula. Very, very intrigued. So these are $25, but you can get an offer where it's buy 2, get 1 free. Very, very excited. I actually just made an order at Lunar Beauty, so maybe I'll save trying those products out for when I get this, and maybe I can do like a full face, because there's definitely a lot of products that I have from the brand overall. So I definitely could see me doing that. But there is one thing that I want to talk about that I saw on another YouTuber's new makeup releases, and I feel like I saw originally, but so far this is the best I can find right now, so I'll talk about it this way, but if I can find a better picture, I will. Huda Beauty is coming out with a new product, and this is their natural airbrushed foundation. It's supposed to be medium to buildable coverage, and I think it's also supposed to be like a satinish type finish. It also comes out with a primer as well with this exact launch, and this launch is coming out, it should be available. It should be available. Let me go to Sephora now. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. This is what happens when I kind of am just too busy with life. I don't pay attention to when these new releases that I'm interested in, it's available. Oh, no. It's not available yet, but it's on the website. Okay, so this is definitely something that I will be picking up. It's called the Easy Blur Foundation. I definitely want to try this. I'm not really pressed over the primer, but that foundation I actually want to pick up. I know I just finished talking about how I don't want to pick up a lot of foundations because I don't review, but this is screaming something that will be perfect for me. It is screaming something similar to some of my most reached for current foundations, which is that Juvia's Place, I Am Magic, and this e.l.f. foundation. I'm reaching for these a lot because they give me the finish I like, they give me the coverage I like, and this is seeming very similar. Granted, why not use what you already have instead of buying more? Yes. But I want to try it. And I've been wanting to do a full face of high-end for some time, and I'm slowly curating the products to be featured on that video. So there are quite a few things that I'm actually interested in. Granted, in the grand scheme of things, not a lot. I'm not wanting to pick up everything, but there are piecemeal items that I'm actively excited to pick up, and hopefully they're good purchases to bring into my collection as a whole. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would love to hear your opinions down below. This was a long one, so I would love to hear your opinions down below. Definitely remember to check out down in the description box for all the items to be listed and linked down below. If there is an asterisk behind it, that's an affiliated link, of course. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you give this video a huge thumbs up. Also, if you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.